Hi. I don't know how good this one's going to be because I'm outside and the crickets are freaking loud. And I live in suburbia, so there's various traffic noises and stuff this time of night. I live I live I live by a high school where kids like to do donuts, and I live by a street where people like to drag race. So, we'll see how this goes. My husband's inside. He's streaming with his friends on Twitch. So he has an actual group of friends that he is like always interacting with online, which is pretty cool. Um, I'm trying to do this video journal so I can practice, talking and presenting. And I realize like there's a lot of goals that I aspire to, but I have to kind of go back to the basics of everything. So, especially when it comes to like research, presentation style, all that. I have a lot of work to do, but I've been watching everything that I can just to kind of gauge, different perspectives. Um, I mean, I was thinking about this weird concept to just just a few minutes ago. Um, and I was thinking about, sometimes they're spies for, one entity, and then they're actually, working for both entities. Some people might even get more complicated, like they might be in like a three-way or whatever. And I was thinking about what are the kind of personalities that would do that. It's like, are they just malicious? They're just out to get the most out of life, so they're willing to like sell anybody out, just make it out for themselves, right? Like, are those people psychopaths? I mean, I was just thinking about that. Like, what does it take to get you to that point? And I think you do have to have some kind of high intellect, obviously. Um, but, like, does high intellect affect your morals, you know? And so there's all those breakdowns of like personality equations and like your emotional intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. So I've just been thinking about all of that. Like, what does it take to be a high functioning and sensitive human, Um, because so often, like, you have to turn off a part of your emotions in order to in order to get through like a crisis situation. You're either the person excuse me, you're curled up on the ground like rocking, in shock or whatever, or you're the kind of person that sees an emergency and you activate that part of your brain that's like, oh, okay, I know what to do, and you can, if you have real leadership capabilities where you can begin to delegate tasks well. And I think, there's that awe that you get into when you see someone who's delegating tasks very well. It's like you think of like a cult leader, and they can't just be evil all the time. Like, obviously they have some kind of charisma that draws people to them in the first place, And so I think about these balances of like power and intellect and, moral character. And, I just want to appreciate the, uh, the complexity of the human species, um, we are incredible, just as 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 a broad species now, with the history that we have. And there's so much about our past that we just don't know. And I feel like we're just at this really weird kind of vortex of, we have tons of information that we need to sift through. And how do we keep ourselves in this kind of emotional balance in which we're able to still have discernment these days? Because everything is just so complex and it takes so much time to go through things. And so, yes, it can be really dangerous to challenge the status quo. And so, even when you're the most prepared, when you're the most articulate, when you hit everything according to all the rules, even then you can hit hurdles because you're still like putting yourself at great personal risk to challenge the status quo, to stand up. And yet, someone in a leadership position, I think if they're truly authentic, they appreciate the people that are their underlings or whatever, their support. They appreciate the feedback from those people, the boots on the ground kind of people, So I think that's a true leadership value that we should kind of align ourselves with, at least start to acknowledge when we see it in people. The people that can lead a group and honor them, to be straight with them enough. And, are you the kind of leader that leads from the front of the fighting line, or are you the leader that is in the back, safe, shouting to the front lines? And I just always felt like my personality has been like, I want to serve others that are doing great projects. And I can't maybe match their level, like if I had my own projects and my own budgets, maybe I would just fuck it up entirely. And I have failed like a ton of different ventures that I've tried, from trying to do glass recycling to dog walking, house sitting, trying a half a dozen different like jobs and fields, from banking to broadcasting to restaurants. And now I'm a professional dog poop scooper. But whatever, like, I'm getting more consistent paychecks from this job than I've ever gotten before. So, and I don't have to get my own clients and get my clients payments. I have a company that's doing that for me. So it's kind of nice to just be a contractor, rather than having to do the whole shebang myself. So I'm really just appreciating like the value that the menial kind of workers have in society. And like, I'm the one going into somebody's backyard and I don't really know what I'm going to find, so I'm putting myself at risk because I'm driving my own vehicle. And I mean, what if I get the address wrong and I wander into some random's backyard? I mean, that's probably one of my greatest fears, besides leaving the gates open or whatever. And I've always tried to be very, very careful about that because I don't want to be responsible for losing somebody's dog. And so I'm very humbled that when I was a dog walker, I was not the lady with 8 dogs on the trail. I had like 2 or 3 max. And if I took 4 out at a time, I would always have a second person with me, because I started to see dog walkers around about 10, 15 years ago, when I was doing it for just friends and coworkers. And I just picked up my clients pretty randomly. It just was happenstance, because I worked part-time in the TV studio. So I served 2 of the department heads and took care of their dogs for a while. And I had extra time to do so, and they were busy working ladies. So it was really cool to pick up some of those jobs, and it got really hard once I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. So I quit that stuff, but I got lucky. I never had any issues. I never had dogs biting other dogs, or any animals get lost under my watch, or anything like that. So anyway, I just keep thinking about all the, I went out with my girlfriends this evening, and I was driving my friend Kelly home, and I was like, damn, we got so lucky when we were young that we never got into any trouble. We were a little rowdy. And I was just telling her how I count my blessings every day, because there must have been some kind of, grand, divine intervention that was keeping us safe, that was keeping the people around us safe. So anyway, I just had some random thoughts to try and process tonight, and so I thought I would get on finally, because the kids are at their grandparents' house having a sleepover, and it's a beautiful night. I just looked up a weather report, and there's supposed to be some thunderstorms rolling in for the next few hours, actually, going into tomorrow, early afternoon. But yeah, this morning at like 8:30, there was this big boom, and I looked out my window because I thought it might have been something that fell on my front porch, because I have a bunch of crap out, and I had this big, tall plywood board leaning up against the house, and I thought maybe that fell. And I looked out the window, and the board was still leaned up where it was. And I went out with my girlfriends this evening, and I was cracking up because my friend said she was up early. She saw this like meteor flying through the air. And then after, there was this big boom. So there's some videos. You can look up Meteor Utah, August 13th, 2022. People have been posting like their Ring cameras catching the sound, which doesn't quite encompass it, It's interesting, those sounds that you feel. So anyway, pretty interesting. I wish I had my own footage of that, but I don't. Would be awesome to have a solid audio recording of it, because the Ring cameras, the footage I've seen, it doesn't do it justice. I grew up in Orlando, where there was one time in particular where the space shuttle was landing in Orlando. Sometimes it would land in Houston and then get flown on the piggyback home to Orlando, to Cape Canaveral, on an airplane. And I've seen that while we were driving on the freeway. But one morning, there were these 2 sonic booms, and it sounded like, some kind of shotgun blast inside the house. And yeah, that was the re-entry of the space shuttle, the nose and the tail breaking the sound barrier. So it was a double sonic boom. The sound we heard this morning, it was just one. It was just a single loud boom. But yeah, those kinds of noises shake the house like nothing else. So I don't know, with all the predictions of doom and gloom, it was kind of startling, but I'm trying not to get myself too worked up about anything, which is hard. I want to still have the emotions enough to care about things, but I want to keep somewhat of an even keel. Keep that, like, what to do in an emergency first. Don't panic, So, anyways, got some exciting news coming up. I have to keep it quiet, but yeah, I'm hoping that I've been building up my endurance, and I'm doing about 20 jobs a day, Monday through Friday. So it's been hot and physically taxing, working out in the heat. But I like my job. I like being active. I like being able to see the sky every day, be out, get tough. It's going to be cooling down, and I'm really excited about what's to come. So I think one thing I'm going to be journaling a little bit is all of the interesting places, like our local, museums, zoo, aviary, aquarium, botanical garden, natural history museum. Like, I want to take my kids to all those things. So that might be how I get into actually producing some videos. So I may be starting a new channel and keep this one as my journal. But yeah, I might just do some practice videos because I want my kids to be into photography and videography and telling stories with pictures, and that's something I really want to practice and learn myself. So, having worked in behind the scenes in the industry, I never really got my hands on producing anything on my own. So, I look forward to doing that, and I look forward to keeping you updated with what's going on. So, hope you enjoyed the view in my carport. This is one of my projects I'm trying to clean up and work on. The whole house and the whole yard and landscape. So, thanks for being along here with me. We'll see you soon.